Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SJD show where I talk about anything and everything I find interesting, usually from my trifecta of Formula One, Eurovision, and of course, Doctor Who. Today's show, I'll be finishing last week's look at Formula One's qualifying championships. But first, the news. So we'll start with Formula One news then. So Massa has confirmed that he is going to be suing Formula One for a sum of $82 million for the championship that he believes he should have won in 2008. The reason why he believes he should have won it is the Singapore Grand Prix, which the public found out in 2009 was the subject of what is known as Crashgate, as Renault had instructed Piquet Jr. to crash on purpose, as they believed that would give them an advantage and potentially allow Alonso the win. It was who was it that unveiled? I don't know. I think Massa or someone got wind that actually Eccleston and Max Mosley knew that that was purposeful way before it became public in 2009. Um, yeah, so Massa believes that that race should then have been that race shouldn't be counted towards the championship, which would obviously mean that he would get the championship for 2008. I don't think he should be successful. I really, really don't. I think that opens a hell of a Pandora's box. The first one it opens is 2021. I would then, if I was Lewis Hamilton, I would then sue Formula One and Michael Massey and say, well, there was interference in that race that goes against the sport, and mistakes were made. Therefore, that race shouldn't be counted towards the championship. There's a lot of incidents of that like through the years. So I think you would also argue, should Prost have then won in '89 because of what happened there? Should Senna have won in '90 because he crashed into Prost deliberately? Like as soon as you open that Pandora's box of something that happened 15 plus years ago, uh, should something happen to it? The answer is no. If Massa wants his 82 million instead of a world championship, power to him. But he should not get that world championship. And then also there's a lot of there's a lot of reports in the news about what's going to happen with Daniel Ricciardo, because obviously the first two races that he's been in, he has not been great. He's been behind Tsunoda for a start, which in order for him to even be in contention for that Red Bull seat, realistically, he needed to trounce Tsunoda in every single race up to the probably up to summer. And the fact that he's been beaten by Tsunoda twice means this potentially could be Ricciardo's last year in Formula One. As I reckon, Liam Lawson should be in that tour also. AlphaTauri RB, whatever you want to call it. And hey, if Sonoda roundly beats Ricciardo, maybe Sonoda should stick around for another couple of years. Maybe I'm wrong. Eurovision news then. So we've had the announcement that the voting will open at the beginning of the show again, just like in 2010, 2011. The official statement is, some nonsense along the lines of, oh, if you like a song, you should be able to vote for it. Well, you can in the 15-minute segment that there's always been. I'm not entirely sure why they've decided to do this again. I think. Oh, wait, no, hold on, hold on, hold on. Because for the rest of the world, you can vote. I think they said you can vote after all the songs have been performed live in the jury show, which is even more nonsense. Basically, they're just doing whatever they can to increase the amount of public votes they get. Probably that was the EBU's compromise to a few delegations saying, "Hey, should we still have the jury vote? Yes, of course you should still have the bloody jury vote. Never get rid of it." Um, yeah, so I don't know. I don't like it. I like the idea that you watch them all and then boom. But obviously, like there's the theory that then hinders songs that perform early in the night and assists songs later on in the night. But I don't necessarily think that's true. In recent years, it certainly hasn't been songs that have performed in the first half have won. So. But all the entries have now been released. I will be covering those next week, hopefully with a guest as well. And what we'll do next week, depending on how long it takes, might split it up into two, one for each semi-final. um, that's the other thing they announced as well, that the Big Five will be performing in the semi-finals in the running order with the rest of the entries. So we will have 18 songs in semi-final one and 19 songs of semi-final 2, 3 of which will automatically qualify, 10 of which we will then have the usual qualifying procedure, which I think is brilliant. My wife's always said that it should be that way the entire time. I don't disagree. If you've seen my sorry, if you've listened to my podcast on how I would have changed Eurovision's Big Five from a couple of weeks ago, and if you haven't, go give it a listen. Uh, then I think that's a good addition to it, and I would still slot in Italy, Sweden, and whoever else is in the Big Five at the moment. And last but not least is that Croatia is still favourite to win. Now, for the first time in a while, we've got some Doctor Who news. We've got the release date of the 11th of May for the first 2 episodes, which are dropping on iPlayer at midnight and are dropping on Disney Plus around the world at exactly the same time as well, which I think is fantastic. There are inevitably, as there always will be with British media and Doctor Who fans in Britain as well, an uproar about how this is Disneyfying and this is an Americanized version of Doctor Who and blah 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 blah. No, it's not. It's really not. If Disney, if the price to pay for Disney giving Doctor Who a gorgeously big, lovely budget and making sure that we get top quality Doctor Who every single year, if the price for that is that as a Whovian you're going to be up till midnight to watch it, oh no. Do you know what you could also do? Just wait till the morning. You could just wait until you wake up and then watch it then. And just, and the worries of, oh, but what about spoilers? Well, stay off social media for the first 5 minutes of your day. Like, it's not that big a deal. Also, it's still, if you're a purist and you're like, well, I don't want to watch it on Apple, I want to watch it at the same time as the rest of the country, at 7 p.m. or whenever it's going to be on Saturday night, well, you can do. They're not stopping that. That it will still go out. The iPlayer is literally for the younger generation and for those that like to watch stuff on iPlayer rather than watch stuff on TV, which is fine. I think again brilliant. I think the fact that the entire world will get access to these episodes at the same time is amazing. Obviously, the thing which will be slightly skewed, and I'm sure the newspapers and the United Kingdom will have a field day with it, is that the viewing figures for Doctor Who might look a little bit off. But let's be honest, there's going to be 100,000, maybe 200,000 people who will watch Doctor Who at midnight on the 11th. There will be 5 or 6 million people who will watch it on TV. So I don't think it's going to make that big of a deal. I just think it's a nice little early access thing. They used to do this. They used to pull this sort of stunt all the time with BBC Three and Torchwood. Torchwood had 2 episodes on BBC Three, and then they would show an episode on BBC Two or one, whatever it was for Series Two. So if you had BBC Three, you got to see it a few days early. If not, oh well, it's not the end of the world. The world will keep on spinning whether or not you've watched Doctor Who within the first 5 minutes of it being released. I myself want to watch it when it comes out at midnight, but I will also, I also want to watch it with my wife, and my wife's like, I'm not staying up till midnight to watch that. So, if I desperately want to watch it, I will do, and then we'll watch it again in the morning. Or we'll just watch it in the morning when we sit down and our breakfast, because that's fine. Like, it's really not that big a deal. It's not as big a deal as people like to make it out to be. People seem to be trying to shit over this new series, this new kind of era of Doctor Who before it's even really began, and I don't get it. We have had 6 years of Chris Chibnall's utter failure with the program, absolutely like burning lore into the ground, writing shocking episodes. We've had awful acting, awful scripting, absolutely disastrous special effects. Viewing figures have absolutely, like, they were plummeting. Doctor Who was struggling to get into the top 30 for the week. And yet Russell T Davies comes back and we're in the top 5 regularly, and people are moaning about Russell T Davies' New York because it's too woke or because it's too this or because whatever. Like, ah, who cares? Like, no, it's in a good place. Doctor Who is back. It is in the best place it has been for about a decade. So let's enjoy it. Let's embrace it. Let's love it. I know that's not in Whovians' nature to enjoy when Doctor Who changes, even though that's literally the entire point of the show, to constantly change and rejuvenate and regenerate itself. But do you know what? Just do it. Open arms, man. Open arms. It's going to be fantastic. Part two of the qualifying championships then. We will start today with 1991, won by Ayrton Senna in the McLaren Honda. In both the qualifying and in the regular championship. Nigel Mansell came second in the Williams. He came third in the qualifying championship. Top of the qualifying championship with the constructors is McLaren. They were top of the normal championship as well. In 1992, we have Nigel Mansell at the top of both the driver standings and the Constructors' Championship. The Constructors' Championship had 150 points. There were like 17, 18 races and 10 points for a pole. So, Mansell was just miles ahead of everyone else. Absolutely miles ahead of everyone else. In the Constructors' Championship, it's exactly the same. Williams with almost double the points of McLaren Honda in both the qualifying championship and in the normal championship. They had just under double the points of McLaren Honda. 93 then, Williams Renault continue their dominance. In the regular championship, they have exactly double the points of McLaren in second place. In the qualifying championship, they have 239 points to McLaren's 73. Top of the championship that year for the drivers was Alan Prost in both the regular championship and in the qualifying championship as well. Alan Prost with 148 points to Damon Hill's 91, which is very impressive given that Prost was never much of a qualifier. So to have him almost 60 points ahead of Damon Hill and almost the same number of poles in terms of points anyway, almost the same as Nigel Mansell the year previous is very impressive for a man who's not that good a qualifier. In 1994 then, the actual championship was won under dubious circumstances by Michael Schumacher with 92 points to Damon Hill's 91. Another instance where if Massa wins this lawsuit, I reckon they should go back and change that as well. Schumacher also winning the qualifying championship much more convincingly with 103 points to Damon Hill's 82. In the Constructors' Championship then, Williams won with 118 points to Benetton's 103. The qualifying championship looks much the same with Williams with 148 and Benetton with 111. So this is Schumacher's first qualifying championship, Williams' third in a row, and their fifth in total. In 1995, we have Michael Schumacher winning the championship by a country mile with 102 points to Damon Hill's 69. And in the Constructors' Championship, Benetton beating Williams with 137 to 112. The qualifying championship is wildly different. Williams remain on top with 207 points to Benetton's 110. And Damon Hill won the 95 qualifying championship with 111 points to Schumacher's 100 with Coulthard at 96 just behind. So this to me speaks volumes about how much that Renault had their issue in the 80s. It seems like in 95, Williams had a lightning fast car, but it just wasn't as good in the races as it was in qualifying. It was not as good over a race distance. That's Damon Hill's first qualifying championship and Williams securing their sixth. 1996 then, won by Damon Hill with the 97 points to his teammate Jacques Villeneuve with 78. Williams, of course, winning the Constructors' Championship that year with 175 to Ferrari's 70. Qualifying championship looks similar but not exactly the same. Damon Hill wins the qualifying championship, so that's his second championship with 132 points to Schumacher's 87, Villeneuve just behind with 84. So Williams still wins the qualifying championship with 216 points to Ferrari's 100. 1997 then, the last year of Williams' dominance in the regular championship. Jacques Villeneuve won the championship with 81 points to Michael Schumacher's 78 for Ferrari. The team's championship won that year by Williams with 123 points to Ferrari's 102. So Ferrari's definitely getting a bit closer race pace wise. Qualifying is a different story though. Villeneuve wins the qualifying championship with 128 points to Schumacher's 77. A much distant second place in the qualifying championship. meaning that Williams wins the qualifying championship with 198 points to Ferrari's 87. Another dominant display by the Williams team with their 8th and to date final qualifying championship. 1998 then, won by Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren with 100 points to Schumacher's 86 in the Ferrari. Constructors' Championship, McLaren wins with 156 points to Ferrari's 133. In the qualifying championship, things look similar-ish, but with a bigger skew towards McLaren. So Hakkinen winning the qualifying championship with 118 points to Coulthard's 78 in the sister McLaren. Schumacher and the Ferrari only managing third with 76 points. So McLaren winning the qualifying championship with 196 points to Ferrari's 102. 1999, won by Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren with 76 points to Eddie Irvine's Ferrari with 74. The Constructors' Championship that year won by Ferrari, 128 points to McLaren's 124, starting Ferrari's 6-year spell at the top. The qualifying championship looks very similar to as it did the year prior, with Mika Hakkinen way up in the lead with 129 points to teammate Coulthard with 74. Schumacher a distant third with 57, Irvine an even distant or fourth with 42 for Ferrari, meaning that McLaren win their 7th Constructors' Qualifying Championship and Hakkinen winning his second. 203 points to Ferrari's 103. 2000 then, the first year that Schumacher got his championship with Ferrari. 108 points to Mika Hakkinen's 89 in the McLaren. Qualifying championship looks different though, so Schumacher does win the qualifying championship with 124 points to Hakkinen's 99, but McLaren with 187 points pip Ferrari's 188 to the top. So that is McLaren's 3rd win in a row, qualifying wise. And it's interesting to kind of see, similar to Renault, at least that first year, their race pace was good. That second year, they were quite. I guess it's not fair to say they were lucky that Schumacher had his accident, but I reckon had Schumi still been, there or thereabouts, he probably would have got that championship from Hakkinen in '99. And in 2000, the McLaren just wasn't as good a race car. And then annoyingly, the McLaren doesn't really get to the same level of competitiveness until the kind of late 2000s, which is a shame as a McLaren fan. 2001 then, we see Michael Schumacher at the top with 123 points to David Coulthard's 65 in the McLaren. The Constructors' Championship won, of course, by Ferrari with 179 points to McLaren's 102. In the Qualifying Championship, it does look wildly different. Schumacher wins with 136 points to brother Ralph's in the Williams BMW with 74 points. Coulthard's McLaren only 50 points in 4th place. So the McLaren not as fast in qualifying, it's better in the race than qualifying, but I reckon that's probably due to Williams BMW not being the most reliable car in the world. So Ferrari top of the qualifying championship with 183 points to Williams BMW's 129. 2002 then, won by Michael Schumacher with 144 points to Rubens Barrichello's 77 in the sister Ferrari, almost double the points of his teammate there. Ferrari then with 221 points to Williams' 92. Qualifying championship is a bit closer. Schumacher 100 wins again in the qualifying championship with 122 points for Ferrari to Juan Pablo Montoya's 98 in the Williams BMW. So Ferrari still win the championship with 210 points, but Williams close behind with 161. 2003 saw Michael Schumacher win by only 2 points, so 93 points in the Ferrari to Kimi Raikkonen's 91 in the McLaren. The Constructors' Championship won again by Ferrari with 158 points to Williams' 144 and McLaren's 142. Qualifying Championship looks different in the sense that this is the biggest shock for me across the entire 2 weeks of doing this. This is the biggest shock. Barrichello beats Michael Schumacher by 3 points. Over the course of the season, using the same points as you would use in the race, Barrichello 95 to Schumacher's 92. Montoya 83 just behind. Barrichello was faster over the season, over 1 lap, than Schumi. Madness, isn't it? So Ferrari wins that championship then with 187 points to Williams' 161. That is Barrichello's first and only qualifying championship win and Ferrari's 15th qualifying championship win. Their third in a row at this point. 2004, we see a return to form. Michael Schumacher at the top with 148 points to Barrichello's 114. Obviously, Ferrari top of the championship, 262 points to BAR's 119 points. Qualifying championship, exactly the same. Schumacher at the top, 131 points to Barrichello's 97. Ferrari, 227 points to BAR's 132. 228 points, I should say, to BAR's 132. Williams just behind with 126. 2005 sees Fernando Alonso's first championship with Renault, 133 points to Kimi Raikkonen's 112 in the McLaren. Constructors' Championship, Renault at the top with 191 points, McLaren just behind with 182. Qualifying Championship looking much the same, Alonso at the top with 119 points, Kimi Raikkonen in second with 118 points. Alonso won 2005 by a point. Not necessarily known for his qualifying pace, Alonso. Definitely well better known for his race pace, but 1 point higher than Raikkonen secures him the qualifying championship 2005. Renault 196 points to McLaren's 179, giving Renault their fourth and to date final qualifying championship. 2006 then saw Fernando Alonso get his second championship with Renault with 134 points to Michael Schumacher's 121 in the Ferrari. Qualifying championship is different. It's completely different. But the Constructors' Championship, Renault 206 to Ferrari's 201. Qualifying Championship, we have Schumacher, Alonso, Massa, Raikkonen. Schumacher 104 points to Alonso's 103, with Massa just behind with 94, meaning that Ferrari win their 17th qualifying championship with 198 points to Renault's 173. This is Schumacher's sixth and final qualifying championship as well. That ties him with Ayrton Senna and Fangio with 6 qualifying championships. Cementing for me, Fangio was the man of the 50s, Clark was the man of the 60s, Senna was the man of the 80s, Schumacher was the man of the 2000s. Early 2000s, I should say, because Hamilton is the man for the teens, the tens, whatever, and it looks like Verstappen or Leclerc are going to be fighting it for the 20s. 2007 then, another wonderfully contentious year for Formula One. Like I said, I am a massive McLaren fan, so you can imagine how disappointed I was this year to see that McLaren cheated. Had the fastest car by illegal means, which is very frustrating, but Kimi Raikkonen won 2007 with 110 points to Hamilton and Alonso in the McLaren's 109. Won the championship by 1 point. It is a stunning season. There are FIA season reviews out there, 2007, 2003, 2005, 6, 7. I mean, to be honest, from the year 2000 to 2012, the FIA season reviews are amazing. I recommend them to absolutely anybody. They're like Drive to Survive before Drive to Survive, but a lot more focused on the actual races themselves. But 3 years of peak. They're about 3 years 3 years ago. Yeah, they're brilliant. Anyway, qualifying championship. This is one of those where it's interesting to see. Like I said, Alonso wasn't really known for his qualifying prowess, so Lewis Hamilton on debut wins the qualifying championship with 126 points to teammates Alonso's 118. Massa just behind with 112 in the Ferrari, Raikkonen just behind that with 107. So McLaren Mercedes would have won the qualifying did win the qualifying championship with 244 points to Ferrari's 219. Cementing for me that Hamilton should have won the 2007 championship if it wasn't for that, oh my God, costly mistake in China. Oh, breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart. He could have won the championship with a race to spare on debut. Unheard of. Anyway. 2008 then, Hamilton gets that elusive title. 98 points to Felipe Massa's 97 in the Ferrari. The Constructors' Championship, Ferrari very much at the top with 172 points, McLaren in second with 151. Qualifying Championship looking much the same. Hamilton at the top with 129 points to Massa's 125. So they were very, very, very close in terms of qualifying and race pace, the two of them, over the course of the year. Ferrari winning with 228 points to McLaren's 226. Very, very tight between the two of them. 2009 then saw a very, very big regulation change, which saw Braun rise to the top, Jenson Button winning with 95 points in the Braun, previously Honda, to Sebastian Vettel's 84 in the Red Bull Racing. The Constructors' Championship then won by Braun with 172 points to Red Bull's 153.5. The Constructors' Championship, very different. Sebastian Vettel won the Constructors' Championship for 2009 with 106 points to Barrichello's 93 in the sister Braun. Eventual champion Button only third with 80 points. Button, another man not particularly known for his qualifying prowess, much better in the races. Vettel showcasing just how fast he is over the course of one lap there. The Braun Mercedes, though, did win the qualifying championship, 173 points to Red Bull's 164. So 2010 then is when the points system changed to what we have today, 25 for a win, 1 for 10th place. So the actual championship won by Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull with 256 points to Alonso in the Ferrari's 252. The Constructors' Championship for 2010 then won by Red Bull, 498 points to McLaren's 454. In the qualifying championship, much the same. Sebastian Vettel at the top, 384 points. Mark Webber in the sister Red Bull in second with 336. Hamilton a very distant third with 233. 2010, the Red Bull was the fastest car by a country mile, 720 points to McLaren's 377. They had a lightning car over one lap. This thus giving Red Bull their first qualifying championship and Vettel his second in a row. 2011 then, dominated by Vettel, 392 points to Button's 270 in the McLaren. Red Bull Racing winning the championship with 650 points to McLaren's 497. And the qualifying championship is much the same. Vettel at the top, 444 points. Jesus. Webber in second place with 284, Hamilton 277 in third. The Red Bull winning the qualifying championship for the second year in a row with 728 points to McLaren's 503. 2012, won again by Sebastian Vettel, his third in a row with 281 points to Alonso's 278 in the Ferrari. Constructors' Championship, Red Bull winning with 460 points to Ferrari's 400. The qualifying championship looks very, very, very different. In qualifying, Hamilton wins his third qualifying championship with McLaren with 321 points to Vettel's 271 in the Red Bull. The qualifying Constructors' Championship then, McLaren wins with 509 points to Red Bull's 498. McLaren had a very fast car. They also had a very fast driver in Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton had a lot of misfortune in 2012, a lot of reliability. I mean, reliability in 2012 was a bit all over the shop. He had a very unlucky season, but also, I mean, to say McLaren didn't have a reliable car, no, I mean, Ferrari was the only team to really have a reliable car that year, and it started off ridiculously slow. Lotus was quite reliable as well, actually, and they were very lucky that they had Kimi in there. 2013 then, won again by Sebastian Vettel, fourth in a row with Red Bull 397 to Alonso's Ferrari with 242. Very distant second place there, and almost 400 points for Vettel in 2013. The Constructors' Championship then, won again by Red Bull, 596 points to Mercedes' 360. Ferrari just behind with 354. In qualifying then, we have Sebastian Vettel at the top, 380 points, to Hamilton in the Mercedes, 308. Qualifying, the same as the actual results, 624 points for Red Bull, 560 for Mercedes in second place. So that gives Red Bull their third qualifying championship win and Vettel's fourth and final. 2014 then saw the introduction of the V6 hybrid engines, which we still have at the moment. Championship won by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes with 384 points to Nico Rosberg's 317 in the sister Mercedes. Constructors' Championship obviously won by Mercedes, 701 points to Red Bull's 405. The qualifying championship looks very different. Nico Rosberg comes out on top, 404 points to Lewis Hamilton's 329. And we know how fast Hamilton is over the course of one lap. So for Rosberg to be outpacing him, Impressive. So, top of the qualifying championship, then, we have Mercedes with 733 points. Second place qualifying was actually Williams with 340. Red Bull down in third with 334 points. So, nice to see Williams up there again. I don't think they were. I don't think they stay there. 2015 then saw Lewis Hamilton once again win from teammate Rosberg with 381 points to Rosberg's 322. Constructors' Championship won again by Mercedes, 703 points to Ferrari's 428. Qualifying Championship looking a lot similar this time around. Hamilton 411 points to Rosberg's 369. Constructors' Championship, 780 points Mercedes to Ferrari's 396. Giving Mercedes their third qualifying championship, Hamilton his fourth. 2016 then, won by Nico Rosberg with 385 points to teammate Hamilton's 380. At this stage, only the second time Hamilton had ever been beaten by a teammate. First time was Button in 2011. Constructors' Championship then, won again by Mercedes, 765 points to Red Bull's 468. Qualifying Championship looks much the same. Rosberg beating Hamilton, but by a very big margin, 434 points to Hamilton's 386, with Mercedes at the top with an unbelievable 820 points to Ferrari's 448, Red Bull right behind with 446. So Rosberg won the qualifying championship twice when up against Hamilton, which I find fascinating. Now, Rosberg had a really bad year in 2015. Mentally, he struggled in 2015 a lot. But to see that over the course of a lap, he actually beat Hamilton twice over the year, fascinating. Honestly, fascinating. Knowing how fast Lewis is, I find that fascinating. 2017 then, won again by Lewis Hamilton, 363 points in his Mercedes, to Vettel's Ferrari, 317. Constructors' Championship won by Mercedes, 668 points to Ferrari's 522. Qualifying Championship won again by Hamilton, 375 points to Vettel's Ferrari, 338. Mercedes winning the Constructors' Championship, 696 to Ferrari's 603. 2018, won by, you guessed it, Lewis Hamilton, 408 points to Sebastian Vettel's 320 in the Ferrari. Constructors' Championship won by Mercedes, 655 to Ferrari's 571. Qualifying Championship looking very much the same. Hamilton, 410 points to Vettel's 364. Qualifying, Mercedes 716, Ferrari 639. Ferrari a lot closer in qualifying than in the race in 2018. This is Mercedes's and Hamilton's sixth qualifying championship. 2019 then, won by Lewis Hamilton in his Mercedes, 413 points to Bottas's 326 in the sister Mercedes. Mercedes then, of course, winning the Constructors' Championship, 739 points to Ferrari's 504. The qualifying championship looking much the same. Hamilton at the top, 385 to Bottas's 342. Interestingly here, we have Leclerc beating Vettel, 321 points to 289. Now, we know Vettel's good over one lap. 2019 is arguably Vettel's downturn, but also Leclerc is lightning fast. I would argue even today, he is still the fastest driver over one lap in Formula One. So yeah, Hamilton and Mercedes winning their seventh qualifying championships there. So 2020, won by Lewis Hamilton, 347 points to teammate Bottas's 223. The Constructors' Championship then won again by Mercedes, 573 points to Red Bull's 319. Qualifying Championship, exactly the same. Hamilton at the top, 345 to Bottas's 316. Mercedes winning the qualifying championship with 679 points to Red Bull's 335, giving Hamilton his eighth and final qualifying championship, and Mercedes' eighth championship as well. 2021, another contentious season, won by Max Verstappen with 395.5 points to Lewis Hamilton in the Red Bull, to Lewis Hamilton's 387.5 points in the Mercedes. The Constructors' Championship then, Mercedes still winning with 613.5 points to Red Bull's 585.5 points. The qualifying championship is a lot more clear cut. Verstappen 417 points to Hamilton's 397. Simple as that. Verstappen beating Hamilton in that Red Bull. Mercedes 712 points to Red Bull's 598. Mercedes still the better car, but Verstappen able to pull something spectacular out of that Red Bull in 2021, giving him his first qualifying championship and Mercedes their ninth and final to date qualifying championship. 2022 then, won by Max Verstappen with 454 points in the Red Bull to Charles Leclerc's 308 in the Ferrari. Constructors' Championship won by Red Bull, 759 points to Ferrari's 554. Qualifying Championship, we are different. Charles Leclerc's at the top, 379 points in his Ferrari to Max Verstappen's 376 in the Red Bull. But not only that, Ferrari, top of the qualifying championship in 2022, 666 points to Red Bull 627. Now, for those that remember the 2022 championship, it was absolutely dominated by Red Bull's race pace. Max Verstappen won from pretty much anywhere on the grid in 22 and 23. You could place him anywhere and he would win. It was something special to behold. So although Ferrari generally, well, I mean not generally, over the course of a season, they did have the pace on Red Bull over the course of a lap, they couldn't really convert it into the race, which is a shame. But that gives Ferrari their 19th and to date final qualifying championship win. 2023 then, Max Verstappen winning with Red Bull 575 points, an insane points tally. Absolutely insane. To Sergio Perez's 285, which seems pathetic in comparison. Qualifying championship then, Red Bull with an unsurmountable 860 points to Mercedes' 409, Ferrari third with 406. As a testament to how much McLaren had a resurgence, they ended with 302, thankfully. Qualifying championship then, Max Verstappen 419 points to Charles Leclerc's 306. With Perez's qualifying being as disastrous as it was last year, the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull win with only 571 points, and Ferrari second with 555. That's how much Perez's qualifying was hurting and scaring Red Bull last year. So far, 2024, I've only had two races, but Max Verstappen is at the top of both the regular championship and the qualifying championship with 51 and 50 points respectively. Sergio Perez in second with 36. Charles Leclerc in second with 36 in the qualifying champions. Constructors' Championship, Red Bulls at the top with 87, Ferrari in second with 49. The Qualifying Championship, Red Bulls at the top with 75, Ferrari 40. And that concludes what Formula One would look like if there was a qualifying championship. Something which I still to this day think there should be. I think it would be fun, if anything, just to track kind of how it all looks and whatnot. I don't think they'll ever do one. I mean, why would you? But I think it's a fun thing to keep a track of. Now that I've done one, I'll be keeping it going for as long as I watch Formula One. Which means we now move on to what Sean's up to. So, what have I been reading? I read The Ballad of Mulan, which I posted on Spotify and YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts as my second installment of SJD Reads. I've also started reading The Story of Aladdin, which I am halfway through the first part of. That will also be going up as the third episode of SGD Reads when that is finished. Me and my wife, we watched a classic British sitcom called Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, which is on iPlayer. If you've never seen it before, I'd highly recommend it. Just watch season one and then stop. It's beautiful farce, stunning farce, so funny. Like properly, like the both of us in stitches laughing at how good it is. We're three episodes into season two, and it's one of the things that makes it so good, especially in season one, is whereas a lot of sitcoms, your main character is the one that's over the top and camp, and everyone around them is playing it straight. and some others do have them. Your main character is playing it straight, it's everyone else around them that's going over the top, and it works brilliantly. What we did say to each other at the end of season one, though, was if it wasn't for the laugh track, and if Michael Crawford, the man playing the lead, was playing it just slightly differently, it would be a harrowing drama on trying to live with mental illness. And in season two, that's kind of what it feels like. So rather than, you've got this hapless idiot, shall we say, who can't get through a job interview without, breaking an elevator and smashing a cabinet. You've got a hapless idiot who's trying to join the army and everyone's taking the piss out of him because he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's not great. So we stopped at season two. Season one was good. We're happy with that. We've also started watching. We're halfway through The Walking Dead season five. Uh, which again is brilliant. If you've never seen The Walking Dead before, I would actually properly recommend it. Actually, I really really would. It's it's a very very good show. It's a very good show. Season four, the first half of season four is brilliant. The second half of season four is just almost constant filler. But season five so far, even the filler episodes have been brilliant, which is rare for any show, let alone The Walking Dead. What have I been playing? So I started playing. I kind of rejigged how I choose what games to play next. So I was getting a little bit bored with what I was playing. So I played the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition. God, I think I played the first six or seven. They're not really my thing. Street Fighter's not quite my thing. I grew up with Tekken 3. I played Tekken 2 actually. The games. I've also played the Mega Man Collection 1, which is Mega Man's 1 to 6. I've also played Mega Man 7 as well. They're all right. They're fine. They're, very much, products of their time. I actually just watched the Kid Icarus episode where he spends an hour going through them all. And he really enjoys them, which is great, but they're not quite my cup of tea. But they're fun to play. I like playing these old games, just to kind of see, where gaming's come from. Really, I also tried playing Link's Awakening, which was again just a bit slow and a bit meh. Anyway, so I've started playing Pokemon Red again, trying another Nuzlocke. Much more successful than last time. I think the fact that I played Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and I'm on my second one of Eevee means that I'm starting to really grasp what I need to be doing in Kanto. Annoyingly, there's just a fair amount of grinding which can't really be ignored. I'm not far away from getting the I always buy if you're doing a Nuzlocke in Kanto, buy the Magikarp for $500. Always buy it. Now, it might seem daft, but the reason why is you don't want to lose an encounter later on where you could get a Tentacool or a Goldeen or a Krabby or something to a Magikarp. So it's worth the investment purely because it means you're giving yourself a good option later on down the line. And with that, I think we're done. So next week we will start going over all the Eurovision entries. If it takes 3-4 hours to get through them all, it will obviously not all be done in one go. Like I said, I'm hoping to get a friend of mine as a guest for that, so that we can kind of go over. He has a different taste in music and Eurovision to me, so it's kind of interesting to go through what he does and doesn't like. We've watched the grand final together for 22 and 23. Yeah, me and my wife have watched everything in the first semi-final so far. We will be watching the second semi-final, using my rating, my scoring system, which I will combine with my friend to kind of get what would this like if the three of us were a jury, what would our top 10 be? Who would we get qualifying? Because there isn't a running order yet. Certainly, at the time of recording, there's no running order. So I made one up, so like in a similar way to how they try and do it. So semi-final one opening with Croatia, semi-final one ending with the United Kingdom, semi-final two, I can't remember what it's opening with, but closing with the Netherlands. Anyway, if you want to get in touch, I am at the SJD Show Podcast at gmail.com. I'm also the SJD Show Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Please do send an email, get in touch, leave a comment, do whatever you need to do. Ask me any question that you want to ask. I'll do my best to answer it. What do you think about the F1 Qualifying Championship? What, over the past 70 years, was the biggest surprise for you? For me, without a shadow of a doubt, it's Barrichello beating Schumacher in 2003. The fact that Hamilton won a couple of times, isn't a surprise, but the surprise for me is the fact that Barrichello ever managed to beat Schumacher in any way, shape, or form. Yes, so like I said, next week we'll be covering Eurovision 2024. But until then, take care, and I will see you next time on the SJD show.